Hey, I'm live. Wow. Okay, so I'm Rand Hoppy. I am the executive director and founding trustee of the Jack Kirby Museum and Research Center. And usually I do this with Tom Kraft, our president and master of the digital archive. But he's on the road. He lucky guy. He came to New Jersey this weekend. So I imagine he's driving, and so I'm kind of like on my own because we used to have Mike used to visit, our secretary, but Mike hasn't been around for a while, and so I'm just kind of here. But I do actually have like an actual special guest who's going to join. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? Good to see you. And on Facebook. Just want to let you all know and remind you that we are live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter/Periscope. So please feel free to make comments like Lynn just did. Hey, Ruben is on Facebook as well. Good to see you, Ruben. And Ruben's like been here like almost every show. He's amazing. So I have a special guest who's going to join us. This person is somebody who's been a really big supporter of the Kirby Museum. This person has helped set up our booths, traveled, worked the booth while I'm like heading out, going, talking to people, digging through like old comic book boxes at conventions and stuff. So it's just gonna have to Scott will, I think Scott has electronics in his mask a lot in this episode, but so our special theme for this week is that we're going to kind of blaze very quickly through the non-fourth world Mr. Miracle comics that I mean, it's just kind of a weird scenario. Comics guy Bob Bierbaum talks about what they call affidavit fraud and how messed up the comic book industry was and the newsstand industry, and how comics guys would like go to the newsstand distributors and get comic kind of off the back of the truck in order to fulfill mail order or comic book convention orders, and the distributors would then not report those sales to the publishers. So as far as the publishers were concerned, Jack Kirby books, Neil Adams books, Kaluta books, any of the really like fan-oriented books that could be sold in mail order or comic cons were apparently bad sellers. Wow, I got my thumb in the right place. Oh my, green screen. So yeah, it just kind of messed up the whole thing. So we are, it's kind of that's apparently what happened. It was New Gods and Forever people fell off the back of the truck more than Mr. Miracle. So this is Bob Bierbaum's statement, and that that's why Mr. Miracle actually lasted longer, because the sales were actually kind of okay because there wasn't that much gray market sales. So it's called affidavit fraud in the comic book industry in the early 70s. So we're going to talk about these issues. But like, we just have a bunch of art, and we'll kind of briefly talk about the stories a little bit. But let me just bring in this special guest who's just done so much, been such a big help to the Kirby Museum over the years. And let's see, here they come. It's who is it? It's Lisa Hoppy. So I got to tell you, you are #1 volunteer other than Tom and Mike. You spend a lot of time helping us out, folding shirts, going with me to the archive, lugging stuff over to the convention centers, when we do things in New York, working the booth. So thus you, other than being my bride of like 25 years, you really do put it in a lot of time for the Kirby Museum.
Well, thanks, Rand. Thanks for having me on.
and you're like 40 feet over there in our apartment.
In my own space.
In your own space. You don't have a, so anyhow.
Hi guys. Hi everyone.
Just
happy to be a part of it.
Steve Meyer says hi.
Hi, Steve.
Our fantastic regular Ruben says hi.
Hi, Ruben.
But
that's great.
We're gonna let's see what we can do. So I'm gonna bring up nine. That makes you go away. How do I? Am I not sharing the screen? Wait a minute. What's happening? There we go.
There
okay.
We go.
So I know. I know. Neil is like
Hi.
Neil on Facebook is like, can't we just look at every panel? And I was like, unfortunately, Neil, we decided in the early days, and I'll get back to this in a second. Well, we'll get there right now, because what we decided to do, what we decided to do was that this year is the 50th anniversary of The Fourth World, because the first few issues of Jimmy Olsen and New Gods and Forever People, I don't think Mr. Miracle, I'm not sure, they came out in 1970. So Jack Kirby Museum, they're like, let's, it's pandemic. Let's do something for the Fourth World. So we started all these live stream events, and we found ourselves kind of really like, what were we doing? We were doing like 3 episodes, like
it was a lot.
Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday for the last few weeks.
And no lunches.
No. We'll get to the no lunches, right? That's the next thing. So we're really scrambling to like make sure that, I mean, the equinox happens tomorrow. So like astronomically, that's when summer ends. So we're scrambling to get as much of the Fourth World in as we can for this, these series of events. Just as a reminder that back on the weekend of August 28th, 29th, and 30th, it would have been Jack Kirby's 103rd birthday. We did a 3-day event, 26 different live stream events, wonderful people, lots of fun, interesting takes on like what Jack Kirby's all about.
That's great.
Definitely go and check out our YouTube channel. Yeah. We consider our YouTube channel like our archive, like things are, you could probably find things on Periscope and Facebook. Maybe not for long, I don't know. But that's the place to go. And excuse me. And we've so check that out. That was really fun. And we'll probably do it again, but we probably won't do 26 episodes over 3 days. And as Lisa mentioned earlier, we will schedule lunch, because we did not schedule lunch.
But it was
we. Who's the we who didn't schedule lunch? This is the we who didn't schedule. I didn't do it. I'm like, we just got to keep going. We'll get lunch, whatever. Yeah. So I tortured poor Tom, like, come on, we got to go. But he was game.
He's a trooper. He was great.
Yeah, he was really great. So anyhow, so that we started our Fourth World series. I don't know. I guess it was early June. We did an introductory episode called the Ramp Up. That was really fun. We talked about all the influences that Jack had that led him to the Fourth World. We talked about the first issues. In mid-June, we spoke with Mike Royer. That was really fun. We did in early July. We got to this this monster 5-issue. See, this is the thing. We did 5 issues, and it was an hour and a half, and it was brutal, and we just decided that we would never do that again. So here we are doing 6 issues. Thanks for joining me, honey. No, really, we're just not going to do it the way we've done all the other episodes. So we'll get there. We'll see. We just kept chugging along, through July, August. We expanded from YouTube to Facebook, and then we expanded to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. we did all these issues, really fun, had a great time. You know, just through August, early September. Yeah, I mean, it just kept going, and you know, it's really fun. What I really liked, here's one of the things I really liked about it. Other than, you know, do I really enjoy hearing myself talk so much? I don't know. That's what. But I really enjoyed the fact that Tom and Mike, who were with us at the time, and hopefully some of the folks in the audience, gained a new appreciation of the Forever People. I've always been a Forever People fan. I love the fact that Jack Kirby, the 40, 50-year-old guy who was like, went through the hell of growing up in the ghetto and living in the ghetto, and then the hell of being in World War II and having people die and explode around him and all that stuff, that he understood and he really appreciated, like optimism and love and peace. And that's the part of New Genesis and the Forever People that I really liked. So, and that's something that it seems that Mike and Tom also appreciated. Hopefully some of you out there got a new appreciation for that as well. Oh, and then we did the issues 11s, we did the Jimmies, because you know, when you talk about Jimmies, you have to talk about ice cream toppings, because that's just the way it is. That was fun. So here we are. We have 6 issues of Mr. Miracle. It's I called it the Escape from the Fourth World, because yeah, there's no dark side, there's no Desaad with his, like, you know, I love torturing people, any of that stuff. But you know, they're kind of, I don't know, they're fun Jack Kirby comics, I'll give you that, right? But they're a little, you know, you kind of want more fourth worldy stuff. So shall we head off into that? You ready?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where are we? We're oh, here we are. Yes, he's strapped on a torpedo, and yeah. So that's issue 12, and here's the splash. Looks a lot like the cover, but you must hear him. You must obey him. It's Mr. Vac. Okay. And we have a pencil photocopy for that. That's interesting, Lynn. That's really cool. Yeah, it did take a while for. I don't think they've gotten a trade paperback yet. I think there's recently. There's been a series of trade paperbacks, but they haven't done the Forever People yet. All right. So yeah, it's a cool splash. You must hear him. You must obey him. All right. So some pencils from our collection of scans. Then what happens? Oh, yeah. So you know, it's basically he's doing a demo on an army base, I think, and so he and Ted Brown there are meeting. You know, there's a general or an admiral, I think. I think they're dealing with the Navy. So Ted Brown is kind of the military, the PR guy, the press guy. What I've done is we're kind of just going to look at a lot of the splash pages that I have in the archive of the original art and the pencil photocopies. So, you know, it's not like it wasn't before, where we're like chugging through every page and looking at the story in the way we did. So there's the pencils for that, which is nice to see what Mike Royer does. He's just great. Inked by that popular pro, Mike Royer.
My screen is small, so I'm going to put my spectacles on.
Okay, yes, please.
Everything comes to light.
It all becomes clear now. All right. So, you know, the whole Mr. Vac is like, he's got mind control. He tells Scott, "Oh, you want to die," and Scott's in trouble because he does a test, and Barta thinks he's, you know, he basically is not escaping, you know, so there's a concern there. But this is actually an unpublished page of pencils from the photocopies. It's tagged as page 19. So it took place in the fight between Scott and Mr. Vac. It's this who was this guy, Mr. What's his name, trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna bet that my Mr. Vac can beat Mr. Miracle, and then but of course Mr. Vac has mind control, so he's basically setting Scott to be killed and defeated. But they actually do defeat Mr. Vac, and right. So then he was a little alien in like a box, a lucite box, and there was a bullet, and the bullet hit the box, and he was exposed to the atmosphere. So it's like, I can't handle this atmosphere, and then he turns into dust. So that's what happens. And then Scott, of course, pulls off his mask and says, "Look I've got this circuitry in my mask. It's going to be a theme." Right.
He loves sharing his secret.
He loves taking his mask off and pointing to the circuitry.
He's not really an illusionist in that sense, He knows how to using his.
Well, what's funny about it though is like he's got the team, right? So he's got Oberon and Barda and Ted and who else, and he would like test out his tricks,
right?
And they would all get worried. Like,
yes,
he doesn't tell them what he's going to do.
They can't get used to him.
They can't get. But the thing about Mr. Vac crumbling into dust, Lise, you have anything to say about that?
Mr. Vac crumbling. Well, it kind of reminds me of something I meant to do today.
So, I guess he got cleaned up with the Mr. Vacuum. All right, we'll leave it at that. That was for Tom.
That was for Tom.
We actually did spend time because we're in New Jersey and Tom was in New Jersey. We spent some time with Tom yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, it's the Mr. Vacuum. That's Mr. Vacuum. Kind of cleaned up the dust from Mr. Vac." So here's some original art from that issue.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's lovely. All right.
Barda looks really nice in black and white too.
She does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we have the next issue 13. Oh, like so, this is the thing in the letters pages of issue 12. Like, people were like, "What's up with Ted Brown?" Like Tom and I kind of mentioned it because in the first issue of Mr. Miracle, it's like Thaddeus Brown, Ted's father, the original Mr. Miracle, is like, "Well, my son died," and then suddenly Oberon, we get like this comment that Oberon wrote a letter to Ted and Ted showed up. And it's like, who, what, where, how, and when? Well, this is supposedly the issue where it gets explained. Yeah, it's a pretty cool splash. And, that's some original art. Okay, Ted, you're my PR guy, and I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to escape, so you can get all upset that you think I'm going to die. All right. So,
Oberon's going to lose his mind.
I know, and he's going to call Barda a tank or something. I don't know. So I go through it, and I just kind of pulled out the splash pages again because we don't want to be here for an hour and a half. This vehicle comes by and swoops up Ted, and they're like, "What the heck? Why is this machine taking Ted?" And Barda and Scott kind of grab on, and we're like, "Well, we're not going to let them take Ted," so that's why they're on the bottom of this thing.
One observation I had there was that thing did look like it was one of those what do you call those things?
A drone?
Like a drone, yeah. Like Jack Kirby actually drew a drone, except that they called it a chopper in the story. But it did look like a drone. Guy's always ahead of his time.
There's Lois,
Hey. Hi, Lois.
Mr. Vacuuming, because when you're an alien and you get exposed to the atmosphere, you turn to dust. You need your Mr. Vacuum. I'll just keep repeating it, folks. Stay with me. Be nice to your servers. No, I know exactly, Ruben. It's crazy. It's like every episode is like, Scott. He's like testing his new trick, and they're like, Scott, no. He's
no,
like,
Houdini. That's what he's.
No. All right. So, and here's the original art for that splash. And it's this whole weird story about this, like, it's like a Tibetan guy, like all this fancy Tibetan stuff, and it's like Dafura, and like a Nazi salute, and like there's swastikas, and it's like, what? So basically, it's like there's like a Nazi who's in Tibet or somewhere, and he has trouble with Ted because Ted's in the Korean War, and he got reported as being killed. So they have long enmity, and we're just gonna cut to the end and take a look at the pencils. Oh, wow. So everything's fine. It all works out. I'll be honest, I didn't really feel like it got all worked out. Like, why didn't his dad know that he was alive? Like, I don't know. It's just, and how did Oberon know that he was alive? But whatever, it's
they never know. He never. It's a mystery.
It is
of how he escapes.
It's a mystery. You're right. So that's that.
So issue. Mysterious. You got to read it.
Yeah. So now we're at issue 14. Okay, and the by the way, the female Furies have been in these issues. That issue 12 was hilarious. There was like a moment on the beach with some of the sailors, but they, like, if there's no fourth world, why are there any Furies? So actually, this issue is the last issue with any of the female Furies in them. So here's one of those one of our mega side by sides with going back in time from left to right. So yeah, you get to see what was going on there. It's pretty cool. I mean, when you look at the original art, I don't know if you can see it. I'll make it larger. I know it's not really that much larger, but on the original art, you can see all that cut out. A lot of paste cutting and pasting. I believe that the art itself that Jack drew on is only this square, and then even it was extended at DC's office, right? Because you can see that Jack didn't draw the elbow, but then you look here and there's the elbow added on with this line. So, there was a lot of manipulation going on in the.
That's really cool.
Lynn, you're right. He had lasers in his shoe. He's got something in his shoe.
He's always got something in his shoe.
And he'll take his mask off and go, look at my circuitry. I know.
His shoe magnetized. It has circuitries.
Yeah. All right. So, and I love this. I actually really like this splash. This is a great chapter splash. Look at that guy. Oberon, do you see what I see? But inked with Spirit and Spunk by Mike Royer. So yeah, that's
Mike for you.
Yeah, that's Mike. It's really fun. I like that drawing a lot, and the coloring is good. Jack has this like line here that's erratic, but Mike rectangles it out. Whatever, that's his job. We don't have the original art for it, but I kind of focused on the chapter splashes rather than the panel pages. And again, another chapter splash, which is it's actually a beautiful piece of art.
Oh yeah, that is beautiful.
And and there's Jack's
wow
pencil photocopy of the pencils. But I will note that Mike's beautiful display type here. And his on Super Escape Artist, like there's this item here that on the roof that Jack put and that Mike inked, and Mike inked it, but then the colorist thought it had something to do with the lettering.
That's funny.
No, not. That's okay. They're like, they're on fire. They're like, they're barely paying attention to what they're doing, to be honest. It's a little bit sad, but that's what certainly a lot of the evidence that we've seen going through these things. It's true. Yeah, that is true.
Very nice.
And again, please say hello. We have Lois on YouTube, and we have a lot of folks on Facebook. I don't know. Is Twitter Periscope working? Are you watching on Twitter Periscope? We'd like to hear from you. And, so yeah, this is a great mega side by side. I really enjoy that one.
That is really cool.
Yeah. Oh, look at this guy, man. He's great. What was the story again?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I'm like zoning out in my frenzy of being on the spot live here, but it's just a great job by Mike yet again. I love the arm with the gun sticking out of a like a box in the wall. Take that guy out. Like, watch out. You can just imagine the something sliding up and then the arm coming out with a gun. And actually, I believe this is the issue. It's the last issue of the Female Furies, I think. Yep. And this is where Ted Brown asks Barda if she loves Scott. Like, really? We've been watching all this stuff, all the adventures these two have been having, and it's like, whoa, do you actually love him? Well, anyhow, it's just,
she only holds his hands, that's all.
Yeah, she's always really worried about him. They're jumping into battle together, and it's like, well, and she's like, well, maybe I do. Anyhow, so who is the real Big Barda?
That's another mystery.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's that Ruben. It's that Kurt Schaffenberger stuff. Totally, big time. Yeah, no, that is a great panel. It's actually for the weird finale thing where they were like, no, only give us 22.5 pages, Jack. We need more space for house ads. Whatever. So that was a fun one. That was that was the last time that issue had the last time the Female Furies appeared, and now we've got this issue, which is the first appearance of Shiloh Norman, and we have the original art for that. It just looks like a logo. I mean, the trade dress up here, the logo is just kind of slapped on, pretty relatively well. Unless that's something else, if Tom were here, Tom would be like, well, actually, I had that done because I found a place that they made photostats and whatever, But it doesn't seem like if I'm looking down here, if you can see where my mouse is wiggling around, that it doesn't look like it's a big cutout the way some of those other covers were, where they were clearly just like cutting the rectangle out and putting that down and then doing the mechanical around it. Because as I've noted, only in comic books do you get, because it's such a street level business, that they use the actual original art as a mechanical. Whereas in other businesses, they would make a stat, have the camera shoot it, then they'd make a mechanical. But in comics, cut up that thing. Anyhow, where are we? Oh, we have our page one splash. Mega side by side. So
mega.
It's true. Looks good. It's very nice. Barda kind of, he's got the they're working on something, and what's she holding? I think I show you guys if I set this thing up just a little while ago. I don't even remember, but maybe not. But then there's Shiloh, and Driver, who is like Detective Driver, I think, or Captain Driver. Oh yeah, there she is.
She's giant nutcracker.
She's the giant nutcracker. Get in there, Scott, and we'll show you.
But will he get out?
Yeah, and Oberon will get upset again because Scott's always letting him know what's going on. But yeah, it's kind of a fun, weird perspective thing. And all right. So then, okay. So then I quickly move on to the another chapter splash. So Shiloh we witnessed a murder, and Mr. Fez is like Mr. Trouble. So they basically let Shiloh head off into the city, but they follow him in order to, and he's an expert. He's a great judo fighter, so he's got this a few moments where he's fighting, and it's impressive. And but they're able to apprehend this murderer.
Another mega side by side.
It is. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's beautiful art. I'll tell you that. I mean, Mike, Jack just laid it out so nicely, and Mike did a great job with it.
Amazing.
It's really cool. Yeah. What's next? Oh, another chapter splash. So now this is Scott and Barda heading into the city because Shiloh's off, and I guess they've tagged him or something, and they're going to go find him. I mean, I wish it was a more exciting splash. I have to admit, the two of them on their aero discs, they actually, kind of mention how great the aero discs are, but it's cool. I mean, it's nice. Lightning, action, and battle thunder. It's happening.
Basically, the aero discs were a dime a dozen on the planet that he came from.
That's right, but not in Metropolis or wherever the team is doing it. And then we've got this cool one. This is actually looks. Oh, and there's Mr. Fez. He's awesome.
He's got Fez on. That's classic.
Got his little glasses. But yeah,
I mean, cool like that.
It's the kind of thing that actually, this is the kind of thing that actually really looks a lot better when it's inked and colored, like with the energy burst and
there's a lot going on in there.
There's a lot going on, and like in the pencils, you can kind of see what Jack was getting at, but once it's actually defined that it's like, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
All right. Oh, and we're going to move on to the next issue. Wow. All right. So actually, this is one of my favorites. Just because it's so disturbing.
It is disturbing.
The cover isn't all that great. It's like, what? Shiloh Norman stumbles into a world of micro monsters. All right. But we have our initial splash here with our mega side by side with our digital archive. So we get to see
it's awesome.
It's cool. I think the next one is interesting.
What's he supposed to be, like a grasshopper or something?
He's an ant.
Oh, an ant.
So they're creating mutants of like between like humans and insects. It's pretty disturbing. Here's the page 2 and 3 splash spread with Barda holding that truck up, which is cool.
Because Oberon is afraid that she might damage the truck. It's brand new.
Yeah, he's always worrying.
Yeah. Poor guy.
And we have the original art. We have the original art scanned for that too. So it's nice. As we've said all along, we generally don't have photocopies of the pencils of spreads because Jack would draw it on a large piece of paper, and they didn't make a copy of it that way, because the other pages, they would take the pencil pages and put them through the feeder on the Xerox machine before they sent them to Mike Royer for inking. So because they didn't,
it was a technology back then.
They were too large to go through the feeder, so they didn't bother making a copy. That's okay. So then we have another page, another chapter 2 splash with the menacing ant creature.
With his multiple lassos.
Yes, yeah. And like Shiloh is what he's like seeing. He's seeing these creatures, but nobody else is.
Yeah. Because only kids could see things, you know. Adults, they don't get it.
I guess. I don't know. But then, you know, there's one chapter splash, right? Because we go from chapter 2 to chapter 4. I didn't put chapter 3 in because we don't have a pencil photocopy for it. But it's pretty disturbing. I'll tell you. You know, it's oh man, you know, I think I'm gonna bring it up. Let's see if I can bring it up. What is this? What issue is this? There it is. That's the one. Like, what is going on? Anyhow, oh, that's issue 3. That's number. That's chapter 4. Hang on. Chapter 3 is really cool and weird. See if I can get it. Nope.
Insecto.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep blowing along here. Oh, here we go. Insecto Sapiens.
Yeah. Kind of look like Oberon a little bit.
Oh, that's really disturbing, man. We don't have pencils or original art for that, so that's why I didn't put it in the presentation that I'm using. But yeah, I thought it was worth it. Because that's really nuts. Too late, humans. Human, your struggles are in vain. It will take a moment to smother you to death. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's a small micro world where all this stuff is happening. Ants and insects. Oh, there's the pencils for that one. It's nice.
Nice. Wow.
And then there's the last page. And you know, they previously, like the page before, it's like, I'm Dr. Egg. I'm the horrible mad professor who's making all these weird human insect hybrids, Dr. Egg. And then on this page, it's like, meet Professor Exy. He's a master of illusion. And Shiloh's like, what? You know what? You are absolutely right, Lynn. Yeah, because it is disturbing. It's weird and it's fun. And Jack liked that. He definitely liked doing that.
Yep.
So that's, and here's the pencils for that. So Professor Exy, yeah. Unfortunately, it's like, no, not Professor. Ted brings him in. It's Professor Exy. Not in the next issue. No, you know. Well,
he wasn't that important.
I guess not. You know, so Jack had something else on his mind. So, all right, so here we go. It's issue 17. You know what? Look at us. It's 20. We've got, you know, it's 20 to 8.
You're just folding through.
We didn't do like look, there's Scott punching and there's this thing. So,
but look, the bed is moving. What's going on there?
I know. Something sinister. Oh yeah, we do have the original art for that. And
is that the original waterbed?
You can see. I don't know if you can see it. Again, I don't really know if this helps, but you know, you can kind of see like all this paste up going on. Where again, I think there's like a frame, like a piece of paper that's a frame that's been put around this like rectangle of art. If we turned it over, we'd see all kinds of weird gluings going on or something. Anyhow. And then we have the chapter 1 splash. And yeah, so here you see that it says inked by a new rising star, John Pound. Didn't work out. Mike was like looking for a break. Thought that John could handle it. I think John did some lettering. If you look at the issue, you'll see some other lettering that isn't Mike's lettering. Maybe some inking, maybe some other inking by other people. I think. Like, is this the issue where Bill Stout did a page? Don't really remember. I'm sorry. I just thought of it just now, or I would have looked it up beforehand. But this is so Mike ended up getting the full credit for all the inking. Here's our chapter 2. Yeah, Murder Lodge, right? It's like gangsters, and like we're gonna create duplicates of people, and then kill the originals so that our duplicates can go out because they're murderers who are hiding.
Well, they will do the bidding for what the lodge guy. What's his name?
Yep. And he's great. He's a great looking guy. I mean, even like somewhere he's like, he look like a movie villain. Like, okay, Shiloh, guess what? You know, the thing is too, though, like, look at Shiloh's costume. It looks so much like Kirby's earlier costumes for Stunt Boy or Sandy.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a theme with Jack that, you know, that Shiloh as a young man gets like a goofy yellow costume, just like other characters that Jack designed. But we have the mega side by side here. Oh, thanks, John. Nice. I appreciate that. So yeah, here's so this is an interesting one too, because it's a chapter 2 splash, but it seems that Jack originally drew it, or mistakenly drew it, as if it was a page 1, chapter 1 splash, because it had space for the indicia. You look at the difference in the space down here.
Wow.
That's pretty much what the let's see, can I go back? Can I go back in time? So yeah, you look at the amount of space that's here, right below this one, because they have to put this stuff called the indicia in there. Right. So Jack would draw it that way, but then so I think, interesting. My guess is that Mike Royer did that.
Huh.
Put in that box and put in that camera thing and filled out that table. So yeah, it's cool. Oh yeah, they throw Shiloh. They Mike's display lettering here is great. I love that. The imposters. Now, he says nowadays he'll be like, well, I used to use the Filipino comics. They had great lettering. So like he actually has a little morgue of comics from the Philippines that he would use as an inspiration for this kind of
awesome
lettering. Yeah, so it's it's fun because a lot of us really like that lettering that Mike did, and it's fun for him to take the peel the curtain away and say, look, this is what it was inspired by. But then there's also the thing where like a lot of Mike's display type like this, or some of the more real classic stuff that you'd see in like Black Panther or Devil Dinosaur, there's a style of blobby display type that a lot of the graffiti artists actually used when they were like tagging the walls and the trains.
I could kind of see that.
And some of them have been like, yeah, it was, we totally love those comics and would look at the comics for the type treatments. So
amazing.
Mike's got a little special cred for having gone from the Philippines through Mike Royer into the graffiti artists, stuff like that. So yeah, it's nice. Oh, and then we're at the end because you know what? I can't. We didn't want to go.
Oh no, you skipped all the way.
You know, so then, so they solve the problem, and you know, these people here, there were like 3 of them that looked like Mr. Miracle and Barda and Shiloh, that they were going to replace them at the
because
end.
They were the bad guys. They were going to go out and break banks and get money and do evil stuff.
And then we have our next issue item where, you know, in the pencils, you know, where it's like, what? Mr. Miracle marries Big Barda? So then that will be in our next episode, which will be tomorrow, because the equinox is tomorrow. So we're still trying to like make believe like we squeezed it in, even though it's...
And Tom will be back.
Tom will be back. Tom's driving, you know, so yeah, that's right. That's right, Ruben. It's the sidekick costume, yellow with red trunks and a red cape. Yeah, that's
what I should have been wearing.
So that's, I mean, that really is it. I mean, it's, you know, the stories are fine, but they're just not cool fourth world stories with Darkseid or Desad. There's a few fun moments with the female Furies. Lashina, like in her, she gets colored as if she's like in a bathing suit, which is kind of fun. But and it seems like Stampa's head insignia is no longer the skull and crossbones, which I'm a little disappointed in.
Interesting.
But they don't really do that much, and then they're gone. They're gone for Shiloh, and then it comes back, you know, for the next issue. This Mr. Miracle 18 is a big waiting issue, and everybody's there. And I actually, well, not the Forever People, right? Because they're on that planet far away. I bought Mr. Miracle 18 on the newsstand. So that was kind of my only, I think I actually avoided. I did not buy these Mr. Miracle issues at the time. But when I saw all those fantastic characters on the cover for in the Wild Wild Wedding Guests in number 18, I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy that. That looks cool. This stuff didn't look cool to me as a 13-year-old or however old I was when I was looking at the newsstand. So, you know, go figure. But
a funny observation that I had, though, is that, so the premise of Mr. Miracle is basically that he is like a Houdini, right? But it's all an act, that he will do this like trick and he will escape before like the train runs over him or something explodes. But what was interesting is that throughout the comics is that they start off that way, like it's going to be a show. Yeah, they're putting on a show, but then all of a sudden it becomes a real life action adventure. It
becomes an adventure.
Yeah, so it's no longer a show.
And you never see a show.
Right.
There's no audience. There's no ticket taking. There's no applause.
Basically, it's a show, but it's not a show.
Right.
It's amazing. Fun. It's really a nice twist. I love that. That was cool.
But I don't know. I don't really have. I think we might as well just end it. We're a little bit early, but a little bit early. But we did make it through. And again, I think if we had gone through it like story by story, it would have gone on a really long time. So
it's a lot of stories.
It's a lot of stories. Six issues is just, you know, really. Yeah, exactly. I can imagine, you know, 1978, like what? Where's Desad? Where's the mother box? It's like, no, just circuitry in my head. So, yeah. So anyhow.
Well, and it's interesting too, because every time he had to explain, it's like he's explaining to his crew, but basically to the audience, of like how he's able to do everything that he did.
Yes. Yeah.
So, my shoes has a special, activating thing.
I got
My
shoelaces.
cape
Come
has
on.
got this. And then he always takes the helmet thing off.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's showing the circuitry.
It's so funny. He's like fascinated by his, equipment that he's able to use to defend and protect.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to bring up some pages from issue 12, just because,
Yeah, you have the time.
I don't want to go. Oh, here's the great beach scene with the ladies.
Right.
There's the female furies on the beach.
Guys are being fresh.
Bart has got the sailors. They're saluting It's pretty funny.
It's really cool.
Mr. Vac. Oh, Mr. Vac.
Lashina is strange with that whip thing.
Oh, this is a really big thing. I forgot to point this out. This Mr. Vac panel here, people have been like, look at those claws coming out of that guy's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Look familiar?
Yes.
Look like Wolverine? Did Jack Kirby do it first?
Sure looks it.
Yeah. It's interesting and fun. Mr. Vac is great. I love it. There he is. Ah! I'm a little guy.
Yeah, little guy.
And then the bullet gets shot, and oh no, he falls into dust. So sad. But yeah, that there's been some people out there that talk about those claws on Mr.
That
Vac
Wolverine
being
thing.
like that.
Yeah.
Like that's where Herb Trimpe and John Romita and Len Wein and all those Wolverine people. I don't know. I'm like an interesting point to note,
Right.
So snicked indeed. Snicked, Ruben. It's true. And I mean, it is a snicked, right? Yeah, it's a snicked.
Snake.
It's a snick.
Oh yeah, it is a snake.
Yes, snick. So, anyway, so thank you, Lisa, for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Tell me
My
about
pleasure.
what do you have to say about all the people that you meet at the booths? Because when I walk away and leave you there by yourself to talk to the Kirby people.
Well, thankfully, most of them already know Jack Kirby stuff. Like, even if I ask them, do you know Jack Kirby? They're like, yeah, I had, and then they'll tell me their stories about who they've met and, when they were younger, how they came to certain conventions and they met Jack Kirby. Right. And, how they fell in love with Jack Kirby's work. I mean, like, who would not, especially if you're in that world of... Yeah. And as a child, you're impressed so easily by a lot of stuff. But more so, when you open a book and it kind of like helps your imagination along. So like you're reading, but you're also seeing what you're reading. And Jack's comics actually have a way of relating in that way. So like it helps your imagination along. And so a lot of the people that stop by are just beautiful. They know everything, and they want to hear more. It's all and with Jack's work, you can always get more. There's never like a limitation as to, oh well, yeah, I've already heard that. There's always something else. So it's delightful. I enjoy it. I mean, like people usually say, oh, don't you get like tired of this stuff? And I could see why people would get tired, but no, I do love it. I love meeting people, and I love the fact that there's always something you can talk about. So it's delightful. It's my pleasure to be there. So thank you, Ryan, for letting me have a part of this. This is really great. I love it. The
museum is lucky to have you, that's for sure. So. All right, everybody. So, click the follow and the alarm bell, the bell, and get all the announcements. Go to our website, buy some T-shirts. Look at this.
That's right.
Thing.
There's merch. There's lots and lots of merch.
Oh, I'm fading in and out. Don't fade in and out. Take your vitamins.
He's becoming Mr. Miracle.
I'm heading into the negative zone. I can see it already. But Thank you very much, everybody. We will see you tomorrow for our incredible coverage of Wild Wild Wedding Guests, Even Gods Must Die, On the Road to Armageddon, and The Hunger Dogs. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to give it a go, and I'm going to make that presentation tomorrow. So I really look
It'll be great. You'll enjoy it.
Tom is like, that's so much. How are we going to do it? I'm like, we'll do it.
Tom is scanning. Tom is in the world of scanning. He's
well. Oh look, I have my physical form again. Well, that's nice.
Oh yeah, you're back.
I'm back. All right, folks. Thank you. Have a good night. Really appreciate it.
Bye. Bye.